What's going on, guys, and welcome back to FBA Capital. And today I'm bringing you guys another daily range breakdown on NAS 100. So let's get right on into the video. So the reason I'm doing NAS 100 today is because I was actually able to catch a trade off in NAS 100 today. So let's just mark everything up. So first things first, price. Let's mark up the previous day's highs and the previous day's lows. So right here, we have the previous day's high, got ran through, and the previous day's low also got ran through. So this is another example of a day that ran both the buy side and sell side liquidity of the previous day's highs and lows. This doesn't happen often, but I'm going to tell you guys why I was anticipating price to have this move and how I was able to capitalize on the expansion. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the 12 a.m. open, and then I'm going to draw the Asian session range. So just like this, now that we have all of these areas marked up, let me make this orange. Now we can overall look at what I was anticipating at the time. But first things first, let's mark up all the big figure levels. So first things first, we got 14,400, which is up here. 14, I'm going to say 14,100 right here. 14,000 and 13,900. These are the main ones I'm going to have marked up. So 13,900 is the price area that we reacted at when we made the low of the day today. So 13,900 made the low of the day. 14,000 didn't really hold too much, but we stayed above on the higher time frame, so that's why I expected that bullishness. 14,100, this is where we had that little retracement back to it. Also retraced back to this 12 a.m. open before we had this push higher. But now let's overall look at what happened. So why did I expect price to overall have this move? For one, we came down, we had this false break scenario, making the low of the day during London session, not London session, New York session. So we made the low of the day at 13,900 after clearing the previous day's low. So we had a, oh, I spelled that all wrong. After, damn, I can't spell. After clearing the previous day's low, we traded into 13,900, and then we had this overall false break scenario. Why was it a false break scenario? Because for one, we've seen that price came down, cleared these lows, and once it cleared these lows, it even cleared this low over here, but we're just gonna mark up the previous day's low. After we cleared it, we seen that price had a willingness to stay above. Look at the engulfing that price had. Came all the way up, and then look at what happened. Price had this retracement. So if one thing we can check, let's pull our fib from here to here. You can see that price had this fib long. So from this low to this high, we had this fib retracement. So we also had this fib long. And what time was this at? We had this fib long at 9:30. That's when price came into it. So we had it. So now we have time and price on our side. And this is actually the trade I was able to catch. I was actually able to get in right here. I was able to get in here. I had my stop up around this low down here. And I was able to catch about 320 pips of this move. I took majority of it off after we got above this Asian session high. But price ended up even running even 525 pips all the way to the previous day's high. But I knew that since it was Friday, I overall didn't want to hold it for too long. But this is why I expected price to do it. We had this false break, so we cleared the previous day's low. If price cleared this low and wanted to come lower, we would have eventually came through here. That's why I had my stop loss below this low, because I was anticipating that this was going to be the low of the day that it made during the New York session. And I was anticipating price to run the liquidity above the Asian session high, as it did. So we're going to mark that up also. So we target the Asian session high, Asian range high. We also targeted 14,200, which is a good area that I'm going to put just because that's around the Asian session high right there. So we targeted the Asian session high plus 14,200 big figure level. So there was more than one reason for why I was anticipating price to have a specific reaction here. So that's why I took off majority of my position here, because down here this was a great move, and overall it ended up running again to this previously high, also coming into 14,400, which is another big figure level. The 400 levels have been being respected a lot lately, so if you pull this over in time, you can just see this area has been tapped into many times. Tapped into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times it's been reacted to. So we made the high of the day right when the market closed. So early, I would say Market closed at around 5 o'clock, so I'll say like 4. So we had the high of the day at 4 p.m. after trading into 14,400 big figure level, which is pretty self-explanatory. But the overall move that happened today was a bullish New York reversal. This is something I like to capitalize on. The moves, if you're able to catch these bullish reversals, you're always going to be able to catch a majority of the move, and it's always going to be a beautiful move. So now let's write the schematic on what happened. So we have the Asian session range. After the range, price came down, clearing the low, came even lower, and then from here, that's when price had this expansion to the top side, clearing all the liquidity. So what did it do? This Asian range, all it did was accumulate, make liquidity, made liquidity above these highs, made liquidity above these highs, came down, cleared the sell side liquidity, made more liquidity, came down, cleared more sell side liquidity, making more liquidity. So the whole time that it was doing all this downwards moving, it was making liquidity above here, and above all of this. So that's when we had that big expansion in price to the top side that ended up taking all that liquidity out. And now we're about to come into this 14,500 area. We didn't tap into it, but overall, this is a clean trade. And the move that you would have been looking to catch is this move down here. If I would have held this trade fully with my stop loss, so let's just say I think I risked about 50 pips. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it was 50 pips. So I'm going to just put that. So I'm going to see. 50 pips, and my overall, if I would have been able to catch this full thing, it would have been a potential 1 to 10 trade. This would have been the ideal trade that you would have been looking to catch from this low to this high. That would have been the ideal trade, and that's ideally what I was looking to do today. So if I would have held this trade from this morning, it would have been a beautiful trade. But now I'm going to take this screenshot and I'm going to put it in the Telegram chat, and that's really it. So today was a simple day, and while we're here, I'm going to actually go over the weekly range since it's a real quick one. Let me do that. Damn, it's cool as shit, guys. My nose is like running. But all right, let's get rid of this. Now let's look at the weekly range. So we're going to go to the hour time frame, and we're going to look all the way over here. This is when the market opened on Sunday. So what are we going to do? Just like everything else, we're going to put the market open. So this is when the market opened. We see that price came right above the 12 a.m. Not the 12 a.m. The market opened Wednesday and did what? Cleared all this liquidity up here and doing what? Making the high of the week after tapping into 14,600. So we had the high of the week right up here on Wednesday. High of the week on Wednesday. And then where did we get the low of the week? The low of the week we got on Monday. So right down here, we have the low of the week. So we're going to have that annotated. And why do we have this annotated? Because these are all things that we're going to be keeping in mind, because we can know when price is likely to make the highs and lows of the week, and we can anticipate when and where it does it. Then we can learn from it. Now let's also pay attention over here. Right over here, when we cleared this low, we were already trading below the weekly low anyway. We're trading below, and what did price do? Came and reacted right to this area, and that's when price came down, traded right into this bearish order block up here, making the high of the week. And then from here, price just came all the way lower and did that. Now let's take a step further. Let's pull the fib from up there to this high. So from here, this high from the order block that we're using to trade into, to this low, that's when price traded into this range and then made the high of the week, and then overall kept going lower. And from here, price was doing its thing. But right above the 12 a.m., I keep saying 12 a.m., right above the weekly market open. Right there, right above the weekly market open. But now I'm also going to take this screenshot too. And that's really it. So I'm going to take all this, make sure I'm going to also journal it. So if you guys do the same thing, make sure you take this, screenshot it, get in the Telegram chat if you aren't already, to get the screenshot so you can get this data, so you can learn from it. Because all this stuff is just, I'm just putting it all in notes, so I can learn from it. I can go back and I can look at every single day and understand what happened on a day-to-day, on a week-to-week basis, and I'm only going to be getting more information as days go on. So on that note, if you found this video helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you stay motivated by the fear of being average, and I'll see you guys in the next video.